Hello, this is Armando from Barron Biosystems. This is the second video in the series that we're producing to help people get more familiarized with Xert. This one's going to cover the basic user interface. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to log in here as Maxwell Power, the user we created in the first video. We're going to go ahead and log in as Max. Right? Now Max, you can see as soon as he logs in, he's going to see his what we call his My Fitness page. My Fitness is a summary of kind of where you're at, what you've done, and what your current fitness is at the moment. All right, so we can see that Max had chosen the athlete type of puncher, and that his current 4-minute watts per kilo is at 4.7. Okay, so he can quickly see here at 4.7 watts per kilo as he glances down below his number of activities that he's performed in the period, which is 25. He can also see that his 4.7 watts per kilo is actually 90% of his best, which was 5.2. And that's over the current period, which you see over on the right here, is forever. Right? So if we want to see how he's been doing over the past 3 months, let's just say, we can select 3 months, and you can see over the past 3 months, he's currently at 92%, 4.7 of 5.1. Okay, so that's what this number means up on top. This is your current athlete type, and you can change your current athlete type. It's defined in your profile. So if we want, we can go ahead and select our edit profile. Let's say we want to change from a puncher to a different type. We can go ahead and select our athlete type, and we can go, let's say, from puncher to, let's say, we want to be a 20-minute power sprint time trialist. That's what we want to focus on. All right, so let's click on that and click Save. And then as soon as we do that and return back to the My Fitness page by clicking on the left-hand panel, you can see now that everything changes over to Sprint Time Trialist. We can see that now his ranking is 291 watts. Now it's not watts per kilo, but at watts, 291 of 320. Right? On the top hand panel here, we can also see what we call current focus and recommended focus. Current focus indicates that today Max Power has been training as a ruler. So if we look at historically, all right, we'll show you in a moment here how this number is obtained, all right? But it's essentially saying that Max, looks like all the training you've been doing has really been focused on you training as a ruler, all right? And as a ruler, you'll be more from what once you start using the system, is actually much more focused on higher intensity efforts than Sprint Time Trialist. We'll show you that in a moment, right? And what's being recommended here is that, okay, so if you're training as a ruler, but you want to be a Sprint Time Trialist, well, perhaps you need to start training as a GC specialist. Right? Because we're going to show you how we're going to move your training from being a ruler to that of a GC specialist and to that then of a Sprint Time Trialist. Right? Because there's a progression that needs to take place as you go from one athlete type to the next. Okay, so in the next section here, we can see, like we showed before, the current personal ranking, 291 of 320. We have the population ranking. We're at 40%. 40th percentile, okay? So the median is 305, which is higher than what we have, and the 90th percentile is 364. So you can see that as a 20-minute power specialist, a little bit below average. However, this is the entire population. Right? So we're not separating these into male, female, different age groups. That will be coming in a subsequent release. All right, so don't be discouraged if you see a number that's pretty low. Just realize that you're being compared to other very advanced and pro athletes that are part of this mix. Right? In the future, we'll also showing you how you will compare within your club, right? And how you rank within the different categories in terms of others in your club. Below this, we have your what we call spider chart or your radar chart, which is a comparison of how your fitness ranks in the various categories, various athlete types that we keep in the system, right? So if you recall when you logged in and we changed here recently your athlete type, all these athlete types start as like a power sprinter, 10-second power, road sprinter, 2-minute watts per kilo, pursuiter, 3-minute power. So these all increase in duration with really the triathlete being the longest duration. This is, infinite power, as we were describing earlier in the first video. Okay, so we can compare our current fitness against all these other athlete types in comparison to everyone else in the system. So it gives us a real view of how we compare and how our fitness compares with everyone else. So we have an objective opinion of our current fitness. If we think that we're a strong pursuiter, then this will tell us whether we are a strong pursuiter, right? Max is at the 62nd percentile. He's not a bad 3-minute power pursuiter. But if he thinks he's a time trialist, he realizes that here he's only in the 36th percentile. So either he decides that he doesn't want to be a time trialist because he's obviously is a weaker part of his athletic ability, or he may decide to train as a time trialist in order to improve it. Okay, so here you're provided the options. You can either do one or the other. Further down on the system, on the page, on my fitness page, we see your progression chart. Your progression chart is a snapshot of everything that's been going on within the period that you have selected. All right, so you can see here that we have a mixture of 3 pieces of information. We have your circles here, which represent your best activities. So we have gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals, and then we have these other smaller circles here that represent decreases in your fitness. All right, so these are great at a glance. You can certainly hover your mouse over these. You can even click on them, and it'll take you directly to those activities. All right, very convenient way of finding your fitness breakthroughs and then being able to open those directly. Okay, back on my progression chart, we have a green line. This green line is your focus line. It shows you at a given point in time what you currently been focusing on. So you can see here rouleur, and then it starts to decline as we move to a GC specialist, and then it moves up to a breakaway specialist. So you'll see movement in your focus, right? As you do more base training, you expect your focus to be at longer durations, GC specialists, climbers, sprint time trialists, which are, if we slide up here, this end is more base training, this end is more high intensity training. All right? So if we start seeing our focus move up to pursuiter and road sprinter, recognize that those are going to be a high contribution of high intensity energy and peak intensity energy, and they're going to be, their focus is going to be higher on this chart. Okay, that's what the green line represents. And then the other bars represents the amount of work we've been doing, right? And it's split into the 3 power systems that we have: low, high, and peak. All right? These are summed together to give us the weighted average daily accumulated energy. That sounds like a big mouthful, but it's actually really simple. All this means is how much work have we done on average, weighted average, in fact, on a daily basis. It's a really good indicator of how much training we're doing. The higher the number, the more training we're doing. Very simple. Now you can see for Max here, he's been busy helping me write this software. And so unfortunately, he hasn't had a lot of chance to do any training. And so his numbers are very low. When you bring in your data from Strava, from Training Peaks, or upload your fit files, if you're training every day and training many hours a day, this number is going to get very high. It's going to be over 1,000, sometimes even over 2,000 kilojoules as weighted average per day. What that means is that on average, you're doing 2,000 or what have you, 1,000 kilojoules of work per day. It is the indicator of how much training you're doing, right? The categories indicate, well, what is the mix? Is the training more inclined to be low intensity, or is the training more high intensity, more targeted to lower durations or targeted towards longer durations, right? And there you have it. That is the summary of my fitness page. And in the next video, we're going to get into more advanced topics. Thank you.